Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Here we are. Good to see you. I'm Daryl Williams Jr., and I'm glad that you are here with us tonight for New Teacher Big Impact, a live workshop. I see who's here with us. We're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube, we're live on TikTok. I just got to make sure that I can hear myself, and I can. So we're good to go. First of all, let me know. I always like to start with a question. So let me get this going right here. Boom. We're talking about how to pinpoint your biggest leverage in teaching and how to maximize it. We're going to dive into what all that means in just a second. But I always like to engage the crowd, see where you are, see who's here, see what's going on. If you need to know who I am, I'm former terrible teacher turned two-time teacher of the year, Daryl Williams Jr. And I'm helping new teachers become the teachers they've always wanted to be and make the impact they always wanted to make. Shout out in the comment section to see you AMS. Let's go. In the comments, let me know in one word, how would you describe your teaching style? As everybody's coming in, how would you describe your teaching style in one word? If it was me, I would, should I go with energetic? I feel like that's too cliche to just go with energetic. I don't know if I should just go with energetic. I feel like I have to switch it up and do something a little bit different. But what is your teaching style? Let me know. TikTok, I'm watching you as well. TikTok, what is your teaching style? Let us know there in the comment section. Facebook, let us know in the comment section. YouTube, let us know in the comment section. Here we go. Let's rock and roll and show me how this thing is happening and is going. Super excited that you all are here and glad that we are ready to go. Tonight is going to be different and interesting because I'm actually going to record the podcast live. You heard it. I'm going to record the podcast live. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that what I'm saying is able to be recorded. All right, so I got Henry here saying that you are unpredictable. I don't know, is that a good thing? Is that something that we're proud of? Unpredictable teaching style. So that means from moment to moment, from day to day, it's just nobody knows what's coming. Right? We've got a flexible teaching style, AMS. I don't know your name. Am I saying it right? I mean, I see the letters. Is that an acronym? Right? Let us know, AMS, who you are. Victor on TikTok saying thoughtful. Shout out to you. Thoughtful. I love that. Love that you are thoughtful and caring about the children, caring about the students, about how, we need a lot more teachers that are thoughtful, that are caring, and that are showing up there for our students. If you're just joining us, I see the numbers increasing a little bit. Give us the one word to describe your teaching style because we are about to dive into a live recording of the podcast, but more importantly, a super impactful teacher training. What we're talking about tonight is something that plagued me when I was struggling a whole lot. Anne Marie, I got you. When I was struggling a whole lot, I had no idea what to grow in, right? And if there's anybody else like me, let me know. I had no idea what areas I needed to improve on. I had no idea what areas I needed to get better on. I had no idea. And I tried a couple of things. I tried this, I tried that, and then it wasn't really working. I tried to listen to my administrators, higher ups, and things like that, and it wasn't really working. But I've discovered a way that we can that we can really pinpoint the one area that you need to do, the one area that you need to grow so that you can make the bigger impact on students' lives. That's what we're focusing on here today. All right. Henry's being intentional. I love that. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. All right. So what's going to happen in a moment is we are going to transition, but I also want to let you know that if you watch until the end, I've got to put that out there. If you watch until the end, you're going to receive a certificate of attendance that you can use for CEUs. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Make sure that you can hear me and all that good stuff, because I want to make sure that this goes well. And if you want to, so what I'm about to do in a second is I'm actually going to kind of give the hook, because this is going to be a podcast. The podcast, I'm erasing all this part right here, and I'm just going to go dive right into it. So what you can do now, if you want to, you can like put some words of encouragement in the chat, because then I can put them on the screen. You say, hey, great to be here, glad to be here live, whatever you feel on your heart, you can kind of put that and I'll pop it up on the screen, because in a moment I'm going to give the hook and get right into it. And if you have any questions, that's what this time is for. Put the question marks with your comment. Put a comment and we're live and ready to go. Anne Marie is rocking with us. Henry is rocking with us. Victor rocking with us. Let's rock and roll and let's get this thing going. Super excited, super proud. And again, if you have questions, definitely don't be afraid to let me know. And again, stay until the end. You get CEUs. I'll give you the link for you to go ahead and get credit for that. But this is going to be highly impactful and super powerful. So as I'm going through this right now, you got to promise me one thing. Like you just can't make me laugh. All right. You just can't make me laugh. I'm looking at the comment section. I want to get through this in one take. If it takes me more than one take, that was your fault. But we're starting the episode right here, right now. All right. In 3, 2, 1, let's go. Every great teacher wants to get better, right? But sometimes we struggle to figure out what area do we even need to focus on in order to improve. See, I understand that not all improvements are equal. Some are going to make a big impact on student outcomes, and some are not even really going to move the needle. That's why in this episode, I'm going to show you how to pinpoint the one thing that you need to focus on that's going to lead to a greater impact on student outcomes and give you the greatest return on your efforts in teaching. Impact begins now. All right, that's the hook. Then we're gonna get a little. You're gonna cut this part out, and I'm gonna dive right into it. Scale of 1 to 10. How was that? Now we're good to go. All right, rocking and rolling, and keeping it going. Here we go. If we're just meeting, I am former terrible teacher turned two-time teacher of the year, Daryl Williams Jr. And I know exactly what it feels like to be struggling to figure out what do I even need to do in order to make a bigger impact in my classroom. But I also know how great it feels to have figured it out and become the teacher that I've always dreamt of being. So, what we're going to do right now is really dive into these segments of the podcast so that you are able to understand how to become the teacher that identifies the skill that you need to grow so that we're not wasting time and so that we can really pinpoint greater success in our students' lives. We're going to get started with the teacher toolbox. And you know what the teacher toolbox is all about. The teacher toolbox is the first segment where I'm going to break down a skill that you need in order to be highly successful in your classroom. And today, as mentioned, the skill is going to be how to pinpoint the one area that's going to give you the biggest return on effort in your teaching. And the reason why that's so important is because I remember how much of a struggle it was as knowing what areas I needed to improve. There were a lot of times in which I was struggling. And it's funny because I had no let me put it like this. My school was very, very focused, if you would, on do nows and exit tickets. And I don't know if there's anybody else. If that's you, let me know in the comment section or in the show notes. But my school was very focused on do nows and exit tickets. They said we are going to have the strongest do nows, the strongest exit tickets that anybody in the world ever had, or something like that, right? And they gave us professional development on how to create a do now, how to have an effective exit ticket that is associated with the essential question. Like we did all those things. And man, I tell you, the focus was clear. Do nows and exit tickets. But then when you go into my classroom, Mr. Williams' classroom, room 208, students were not able to do the do now and exit ticket because students weren't even able to sit down. Like I did not know how to get students to sit down and be quiet in the class. So although they kept giving us training over do nows and exit tickets, I couldn't even get students to actually try it. So what I'm doing now is I'm struggling and trying to figure out how to get students to sit down, how to get them to be quiet, how to get them to fall in line with procedures, how to get them to focus and pay attention during my lessons. But all the training that the school is giving me is over do nows and exit tickets. Has anybody else ever been in a situation where you were struggling with something, that you needed assistance with something, but the training that was assigned to you by administrators or by the school or by district was irrelevant, not targeted, not helpful, or boring, right? Have you ever had those professional development experiences where this is not exactly what I need and I know it's not going to lead to greater success in my classroom? So then I started asking myself the question, what are the skills that I actually do need? What are the skills that I actually need to grow in my classroom? Is it student engagement? Do I need to be able to create lessons where students are focused and paying attention? Is that the issue? Or maybe it's management. Maybe students would just pay attention if I had stronger management skills and I can get them to sit down and listen and pay attention. Or maybe the lessons are just messed up from the jump. Maybe it's the lessons that are wrong. They're not focused on the standards. They're not, chunked to an area in which students can learn. Like I didn't know what the issue was. And a lot of us know that it's really hard to know what you don't know. How am I going to know what areas to focus in on? And I don't even know what all the options are. So what I started doing was I started studying a lot of other highly effective educators. I started seeing what was going well in some highly effective classrooms. I looked at some teachers online. Did research. I studied a whole bunch of different highly effective educators and said, wow, okay, so the reason why they're focused in class is boom. Okay, wow, okay, their students, their data is increasing. Oh, I love their evaluation strategies, right? So now I'm starting to study some other things that are becoming highly effective. And what I realized is that all highly effective teachers had some commonalities. And if it's all right with you, I want to share with you my findings on what I found was happening in all highly effective teachers' classrooms. Is that all right? All right, so check this out. Here's what I found. I did all this research and I compiled it all into a you know me. If you know me by now, you know me by now. I compiled it all into a system that I could remember. And I call it the 6 principles of effective instruction. The 6 principles of effective instruction. And this is what I'm talking about when I say the 6 principles of effective instruction. So here we go. The first thing that I realized that all highly effective teachers were able to do was that they can encourage their students. What does that mean? It means that they formulate a belief in students that if it is possible, they are capable. Right? I'm sure we realize that students won't be able to do the work that we set before them unless they believe that the work that we set before them is doable, right? So when students experience or have the thought in their mind that I can't do this, I can't do that, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable. When students have these thoughts in their mind, they're not even going to try to do the work. I realize that all highly effective teachers know how to encourage their students and let them know, listen, not only is this possible, but you are capable. So that's one. The second thing that I noticed that all highly effective teachers were able to do is that they were able to engage their students. Engage students means that they were able to manage the classroom and capture the attention of their students in order to increase retention. And they're able to communicate with all other stakeholders. Highly effective teachers know how to engage their students. They know how to have them focus and pay attention on lessons. They know how to allow them to communicate and collaborate effectively without being off task and things like that. I said, okay, highly effective teachers know what it means to engage students. Come on, you see what I'm saying? So I did the research. Here's a third thing that I found that all highly effective teachers were able to do. All highly effective teachers are also able to empower their students, meaning that they deliver innovative lessons in such a way that it provides relevant information and it provides a transformation for students. That's what it's all about. It's funny because a lot of people think that teaching means that I'm just delivering the content. But I noticed that a highly effective educator recognizes that it goes beyond just delivering the content because we need students to be able to retain the information, and prove that they understand it by showing us that they are transformed because of it. I asked this question the other day and I want to see what you have to say about it. The other day, my daughter, I was helping her. Well, let me put it like this. My daughter currently at this moment right now, she can't tie her shoes. All right, we're working on it. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. She can't tie her shoes. If I told you, well, if I told my daughter, here's how you tie shoes, make the two bunny loops, go around a tree, in and out, under, over, whatever they teach people to tie their shoes. If I told my daughter that and then said, all right, baby, you got it. Boom, sent her off. And then she went to school and she said, my daddy taught me how to tie my shoes. And then the teacher said, okay, well, go ahead and tie your shoes. And she grabbed the laces and did not know what to do with them. Did I teach her how to tie her shoes? That's a real question. That's a real question. And for those that are joining us live, I'm looking there in the chat. Like, if I told her what to do, but then when it was time for her to do it, she had no idea what to do, did I teach her how to do that thing? And I know that this may sound a little bit controversial, But the thing that I am leaning towards is if I told her how to do it, but there was no transformation in her ability, meaning before she couldn't, but now she can. If there was no transformation in her ability, I didn't teach her, I just told her. And I think that there's a difference between teaching and telling. And what I like to say is if they didn't learn it, you didn't teach it. You may have spoken it, you may have said it, you may have given it to them, but if they didn't learn it, you didn't teach it because learning is a requirement of teaching. So all highly effective teachers understand that they have to empower their students, meaning they have to provide a transformation, right? And I see the comments saying, yes, it's effective. These are the E's. These are the E's. That's the third E. Let me give you the next one. The next E in the six principles of effective instruction is that all highly effective teachers understand how to evaluate students' data, meaning that they are going to effectively assess and use data to drive instruction. All highly effective teachers know how to effectively use data to drive instruction. We're not operating off of feelings, we're operating off of facts. What do the facts say? What does the data say? We're not saying, I feel as if students are ready to move on to the next lesson. We're saying the data shows that students are ready to move on to the next lesson or whatever it is, right? All right, so we got four of the E's down. I hope you're seeing a trend here. So I took this information, I'm researching, I'm looking at what is happening in highly effective teachers' classrooms, and I broke it down. There's two E's left. Stick with me. Watch this. The next E that all highly effective teachers are able to do is that they are able to extend as an educator, meaning they're going to reflect on their practices and they're going to continue to grow and expand your impact, continuing to learn, continuing to grow, looking to expand your reach outside of the classroom, empowering students through clubs, through becoming an instructional coach, a team lead. Like we are extending the impact. All highly effective teachers understand that it's not enough to just do the bare minimum, but we've got to extend our impact and continue to grow. Highly effective teachers understand that. And the last E of the six E's of effective instruction is that all highly effective teachers understand how to endure. And endure does not mean that we are just going to grin and bear it until we get it. Endure means we're going to practice self care in order to prioritize your well being. All highly effective teachers understand that I have to take care of me so that I can show up for everybody else. And I'm putting that there on the screen so that you can look at all the six E's of effective instruction. And I guarantee you that all highly effective teachers are able to do these things. So, in understanding that, the next thing that I thought to myself was awesome. Boom. So, this is what I need to do. These are the things that I need to improve, and I'm ready to go. But then another question came up. I don't know about you, but I'm the type of person that just I'm always looking for solutions, right? Questions come in my head. I'm always looking for solutions and things like that. So I found one solution. I addressed one pain point. I was like, cool, let's do this. Now I know what I need to work on. I need to encourage. I need to engage. I need to empower. I need to endure. I need to evaluate, extend. Like I understand now, right? What I need to do in order to be highly effective. But now here's the kicker. And the reason why we're here today. I know what we need to focus on, but I don't know where to begin. I asked myself, what actually do I need to do? Is it that I need to clean up classroom management first? Right? Do I need to be more engaging first? Like, what is it that I actually need to do in order to be a highly effective educator? Which one is going to move the needle the most? Remember, like I said earlier, all improvements are not created equal. What's going to move the needle and make a big impact on my students' lives? And then I decided the way to do that is to be able to self assess where you currently are in your classroom and decide on what the root frustration is. Because when you address the root frustration, then all the other dominoes will fall in place. But how, Daryl? How are we going to do that? Glad that you asked. We're actually going to do that together right here live. I created a quiz that you will be able to use, and the link is already in the description. I'll create a quiz that you will be able to use that is going to help you be able to pinpoint that one driver that when you effectively address this, the rest of the classroom is going to fall in line. So check this out. If you are not using your phone, you can scan the QR code right? If you are using your phone, you can just click the link that is in the description down below already. It says, take the quiz, clicking that link. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the quiz as if I was my first year teacher self. Is that all right? I'm going to take the quiz as if I was my first year teacher self, and you are going to get the opportunity to see what it's like to kind of go through that quiz. Feel free to go through it, or you can stick with me and we can do this thing together. So I'm going to show you what it's like. All right. So here we go. Here's the quiz, and let's rock and roll. Make sure this sound is working. And I'll make this big and I'll make me small. So here's how you do it. When you click on the link, it's going to take you to this quiz, and you're going to go to a screen where I am explaining to you what this quiz is all about. All right. So boom, here I go. Let's get started.
As a new teacher, you just want to be the best for your students, right? And you're willing to put in the work to get there. But sometimes it gets a little bit hard to figure out where to focus your attention so that you're not wasting time and energy on skills that are not really going to move the needle. So how do you identify which skills you actually need next? It's not by seeing what other teachers have done in the past. It's really based on you and your current skills and abilities. So the thing that you should do is assess the current state of your classroom so that you can get down to the root cause of your frustration. Then acquire the skills that you need to attack that frustration so that it can accelerate you down the path towards becoming a highly effective teacher. And in this quiz, that's exactly what we're going to be able to do. In less than 2 minutes, you'll be able to identify the skill that you need to master next in order to make a bigger impact on student outcomes. So click or tap the screen to get started now.
All right. So if you're rocking with me, you can take this quiz on your own, or you can watch it. I'm putting myself back into 2014. This is the thing that I needed. Listen, this is the thing that I needed because remember, I was struggling so much and I had no idea where even to start. I had no idea where to start. I was struggling. But now we're going to figure out how to address those pain points, figure out what the root cause is, and so that you can know how to find a solution so that you can figure out what skill you need to work on. Watch this. Here we go.
All right, question number one. What is your biggest challenge in the classroom right now? Click or tap the screen with the answer choice that resonates with how you're feeling. Is it that students are struggling to stay focused, or that they don't believe in themselves? Or maybe it's that you're feeling like the lessons are not really connecting, or perhaps you're just exhausted and overwhelmed by the workload? Or is it that you're not really sure how to analyze student progress, or perhaps you're feeling stifled because you're looking for more leadership opportunities? What is your biggest challenge right now?
Well, I know when I was a struggling teacher, I know that my biggest challenge, when I'm thinking about it, my biggest challenge was definitely that my students didn't stay focused, engaged, or behaved appropriately. So I'm going to click on that one. And as we go through the rest, listen, you don't even have to listen to me list all the options. So check it out for yourself. Once you hear what is applies to you, or you read what applies to you, just click it and move on to the next one. But for me, this one is definitely A.
Question number two. How do your students typically respond to your lessons? Are they disengaged, disinterested, or they're not putting in effort because they feel like they can't
Oh, they're
succeed?
not putting in
Or
effort.
you're
That's true.
teaching,
That
but
was
for some
me.
reason, question number three, we're more than halfway done. What best describes how you feel about your current teaching approach? Is it that you're trying to be interesting, but students are not participating? Or maybe the classroom culture is just not where you want it to be? Or you know that you're delivering the content, you know you're giving them the instruction, but
Mm,
students are just not
it's a
getting
C.
it?
It's a C. That
Or
was C
maybe
for
you're
me.
just always
I was
doing it.
definitely
Question
giving
number four.
content.
When it comes to student learning, what concerns you the most? Is it that your students aren't paying attention or actively participating? Or maybe it's that they lack confidence and give up easily? Or maybe you feel like your lessons aren't impacting all students. Yes, we're
Yep,
talking
not
about
paying attention.
neurodiversity.
It's gonna be the
All
first
right,
one.
last question and the most interesting one. If you had a magic wand with one use in it left, what would you poof to help you feel more successful as a teacher? Would you poof have students that are orderly and participating, or a classroom environment that's warm and friendly? Or would it be that your lessons would appeal to all different learning styles? Or maybe that your plate of teacher tasks is cut in half? Or
I think I'm gonna
would it
go
be
with
that
student
student data is
participation again.
consistently collected? That's it. All right. So now we're just going to take that data and just crunching and giving you a specific outcome. So enter your email address and I'll give you the list of all the potential outcomes. And on the next screen, I'm actually going to walk you through your quiz results and your specific skill that you need to work on next in order to become the teacher that you've always wanted to be. All right. I'll see you soon.
All right, so check this out. So now what's gonna happen is you just put in the email address. I'll click get mine right there real quick. And what you'll notice is we're going to give you the results to the quiz so that you can see what is it that you need to work on. Was this helpful? Is this good? Like to be able to take a moment really quickly and just look at what the things are that you are wishing for and struggling with in your classroom. And it's going to point you to, all right, here's the area that you need to grow. Now, based on what you know so far, I wonder if you're starting to think in your mind what I needed assistance with, or what I needed to grow in. But I'm interested to see what your thoughts are. But let's get those results and let's see what I need to focus on. What new teacher Daryl needs to focus on.
Drum roll, please. The pillar that you should begin with is engagement. And let me tell you why. Creating a classroom environment where students can truly receive and retain the information that you're providing is foundational, not only to their success, but to yours as well. So right now, you might be dealing with things like mismanagement or
Yep.
lack of student focus or
Yep.
participation struggles.
Yep.
The root cause of that is often engagement. And if we don't get that together, students are not going to be able to learn effectively because they're not actively involved in the lesson. But once you really solidify and secure your engagement practices, students are going to be able to set the stage for everything else to fall in place. And
Man, this is great. So, as you can see, now I'm going to go through more of an explanation of what it is that we're looking for, what it is that we can start focusing on as an educator. And that's exactly what would happen. And the cool thing about it is what you're going to hear next, if you're continuing to go, is that it's going to tell you about the next steps that you can take. Knowing that engagement was the thing that I was struggling with. Now the question becomes, okay, so if engagement is what I'm struggling with, what is the next step that I need to take? And I'll let you know that we have a new teacher community that's called Impact. And the whole purpose of the community, was to help teach new teachers the 6 principles of effective instruction. But again, just like I realized as a new teacher, I didn't know what to start with. Well, I didn't know what to focus in on. But once I was able to take this quiz, once I was able to really sit and assess and reflect on my current practice, then that was able to help me pinpoint, boom, this is the area that I need to start focusing in on. And that's where impact comes in, because there are courses, there's an engaging community. We have weekly coaching where we're able to get in there and address those pain points so that we can actually move the needle and make a big impact in student achievement. It's not that we just come in here and teach random topics, or we just talk about things, sometimes we get into teachers lounges and we just kind of complain about the issues. That's not what impact is all about. Impact is all about finding actionable and practical strategies that you can apply in your classroom, master these principles so that you can make the impact that only you could. So again, the quiz is in the link below, and I really, really, really want you to kind of go through it. If you are watching live right now on TikTok, it's okay. Click on the link in the bio, because that's going to take you to the quiz as well. And that'll be fine. But if you are on Facebook watching this or YouTube watching this, then you should see the link in the description to go ahead and to give it a shot. Or if you're listening to the podcast, the link is in the show notes for you to take that quiz for yourself and see what skills you need to grow in order to become the teacher that you've always wanted to be and make the impact you've always wanted to make. But basically, where do we start? All right. So check it out. And then you're able to go. Up next, we are talking about the next segment. And you know how we like to do. You know what it is that we like to do. And in our next segment, we're going to give you a new teacher quick tip. I always like to give you a new teacher quick tip that you can apply right here, right now in your classroom to make a difference immediately. And that's coming up right after this. All right. So our new teacher quick tip is something that you can apply right here, right now. And I'm going to call it the preemptive reset. What do you mean? The preemptive reset. It means what I've noticed about some teachers is that we are very reactive, meaning we are a lot of teachers that ask me questions about classroom management and things like that. They'll ask questions about, what do I do when students are disrespectful? What do I do when students don't get quiet? What do I do? And we're thinking about, what do we do after students have already falling short of the expectations. But when I'm talking about the preemptive reset, what I'm talking about is, what are we going to do before students get completely off track so that we can salvage what we have? There are already expectations. There are things that students are already doing. We just don't want them to kind of fall off, right? And I like to think about it at, this trigger warning, I like to think about it like the recent Super Bowl that we just watched. At the time of recording this, I am sitting here as a proud Philadelphia Eagle fan as we just secured, obliterated, sorry, all right, the Kansas City Chiefs. But watch this. Even if you're not a sports person, maybe you tuned in, maybe you heard about it, maybe you didn't. Let me just kind of give you what happened in the game. The Kansas City Chiefs were so focused on stopping one particular player on the Eagles. And they said, we're going to stop this player and we're not going to let him score. And you know what? They did not. But almost everybody else did, right? So you can see after the end of the first quarter, they hadn't scored yet, and the Eagles had scored multiple times. At the end of the second quarter, they hadn't scored yet. The Eagles scored multiple times. At the end of the third quarter, the Eagles kept scoring. And as I was watching it, as an Eagles fan, I was getting excited. But as I was watching it, thinking about the game of football, I was wondering at what point are the Kansas City Chiefs going to make an adjustment? Sometimes you hear about in when we talk about sports, a halftime adjustment, or you call a timeout to make an adjustment. At what point are they going to make an adjustment? At what point are they going to say, okay, we're going to shift our focus, maybe not just from this one particular player, but we're going to focus more on the thing that they're beating us with, right? At what point were they going to switch their focus? And the reason why they lost that game and lost by such a large margin is because they waited too long to have a reset. They waited too long to say, all right, you know what? No, we're going to do this instead. They waited too long to make an adjustment. And I don't want you to make that issue in your classroom. I don't want you to get into the classroom and realize students are falling short of the expectation time and time and time and time and time again. And then asking yourself, how do I pull them back? No, let's focus on the preemptive reset, meaning we're going to restate expectations. Here we go. Here's what a preemptive reset is. We're going to restate the expectations and remind students of their dreams and goals, remind students of the class dreams and goals before they start falling short of the expectation. Great times for this are, spring break is coming up, right? After spring break, we can anticipate that students are going to begin, kind of forgetting some of the rules and expectations. A preemptive reset will say, once we get back from spring break, boom, I'm going to remind students of the expectations in the classroom. Remind students of what we're working towards, of our dreams and goals. Not waiting for them to fall short of the expectation for me to remind them, but to preemptively remind them of what those procedures, expectations are. So spring break, long weekends, snow days, whatever it is, when we come back, give a good preemptive reset so that students understand what the expectations are. All right. And it's great to know that there are people that are supporting you on your journey. So as you're giving the preemptive reset, you are not the only person that is going through this, right? The other teachers are struggling kind of sort of sometimes with things in their classroom. So definitely communicate with other teachers to figure out what are some things that are working in their classroom. And one of the greatest places and ways to do that is in the teacher's lounge. Up next, we're talking in our teacher lounge, and the teacher's lounge is not just a teacher's lounge that you may be familiar with, where we talk about students and see what's going on. But in this teacher's lounge, we bring actionable solutions to some common teacher problems. So we're getting right into the teacher's lounge right after this. Welcome to the Teacher's Lounge, where what I'm going to do is field some live questions. So I'm looking in the chat, I'm looking in the comment section, I'm looking to see where questions are. But I also came with a question from somebody from our Impact community. So a question was submitted, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to showcase it. And this question was submitted by one of our members. Let's make the screen nice and big so that you can see it. This question was submitted by Danielle. And as you can see on the screen, Danielle is saying, listen, I need help hiding these wires. You can read the screen. If you listen to the podcast, I'll explain to you the question. She's saying, listen, she is trying to untangle this wild mess of cables in the classroom. Like she just wants it to be ruled, clean. She doesn't want to have people tripping over wires. She doesn't want it to look just disheveled. And she's obviously looking for budget-friendly options. And she's saying that her school doesn't have Chromebook carts and things like that, but she wants to keep the Chromebooks clear from clutter. She included some pictures and things like that. And That's a great question, Danielle, because I actually hate chords as well. I promise you I do. And I already responded inside of Impact, but this is for everybody else. Like, I hate chords as well. One of the things that I did when I was in a very similar situation, didn't have a computer card, but I had about 18 computers for the students that were in my class. Chords were kind of all over the place and it just looked unkempt. And one of the things that I learned is that sometimes students treat your classroom as they meet your classroom. So when they see your classroom looking unorganized or dirty or things all over the place, sometimes they'll feel like, okay, like we can do whatever in here. But when it's clean and put together, sometimes that just sends a message that we have expectations and we're orderly. So I really respect the fact that you're looking to make the classroom really clean and organized. So what I would say, one of the things that I did was one, I did spend a little bit of money, a couple dollars. I think it was about $6 or so. I got some Velcro strips, and I took that power strip that you have, and I Velcroed it to the bottom side of the table. So now all the wires were kind of going under the table. Then I got some zip ties and zip tied all the cords together and kind of grouped them all together. So it's just one big grouping of cords. Then I fed the cords to the top of the table and I used some of those not binder, some of those folder holders, right? And the folder holders, they kind of stand vertically and you put manila folders in them. Well, those are just wide enough to hold a lot of our Chromebooks and laptops and things like that. And a retiring teacher was actually giving hers away. So I got maybe four of those, and it was enough to hold about 20 laptops, 20 Chromebooks, and I was able to stack them in there. So that's what I had set up in the back of my classroom. So just to answer your question, it is possible, but definitely the Velcro helped. Those Velcro strips, the double-sided Velcro, just stick it up underneath the desk so that the wires are not just all hanging out. And zip ties. One of my friends, or a lot of my friends actually ended up becoming engineers because I was a math major in college. They had a lot of engineering friends, and they would all say that a zip tie is the engineer's best friend. So get you some zip ties, tie that thing up, and you don't need an engineering degree to make it look nice. All right. So that is our teacher's lounge, making sure that we are answering those questions. That is going to lead us to our last segment of the day. Our last segment, I know you understand, our last segment is called the exit ticket. And the exit ticket is very brief, but just like how I was telling you earlier, how my school, we spend a lot of information, a lot of time on our do nows and exit tickets. I know that a good exit ticket is going to address our essential question. And our essential question that we are addressing today in this exit ticket is, after taking the quiz, what is your next step to make a bigger impact in the classroom? I want you to comment that on the comment section down below. If you're watching this or listening on the podcast, still comment on the comment section down below. I would love to go back and read it. So after you take the quiz, what is the next step to making a bigger impact in the classroom? I know for me, when I took the quiz, pretending as if I was my first year teacher self, I recognized that I needed to learn how to engage students. I needed to learn how to do things like manage the classroom. I needed to learn how to do things like and create lessons that students were actually paying attention to. Like, these were all things that I needed to be able to do in the classroom. And what I would do is I would sign up for Impact, because inside of Impact, you can get started for free by watching a course on Classroom Management Made Simple. Literally, our most popular course is Classroom Management Made Simple. So many people ask questions about how to get students to follow directions, how to give rewards, consequences, what is positive narration, what are some things that are working in classrooms today in 2025. That course is completely free. You can check it out, watch it, and see if it gives you value that you can use to help engage your students in the classroom. But then we also have tons of other courses, right, that you can check out. And there's a new course released every single month. But most importantly, we have a community of educators that are here to support you. So if you are looking for a place to really just ask questions when they arise, similar to what Danielle did, like ask questions when they come up and find other people to lean on and figure out how to master these principles of effective instruction, Impact is the place for you. The link is in the description below. And if you're watching on the podcast, the link is in the show notes. I appreciate you. And what we're going to do actually is we're going to dive into each of these 6 principles throughout this season on the podcast. So stay tuned. This is just episode 1 of season 3. But for the rest of the episodes, we're diving into these 6 principles of effective instruction and giving you practical strategies for immediate impact. I'll see you in the next episode. All right. So you were here live for that podcast. Shout out to you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm looking at the comment section, seeing if there's anything that we need to address. If we have any questions, now is a great time. I'm looking at TikTok and I don't see anything. I'm looking at Facebook, YouTube. I don't see anything, but I'm super glad that you are here, that you're locked in, and that you're paying attention. If you would like to get this, if you would like credit for this CEU, then you can type in the bit.ly that you see on the screen, bit.ly/TTT cert, which is Teacher Tuesday Training Certification. So all lowercase TTT cert, and that's going to get you started and get you ready with that certificate. Type in that URL and you are good to go. I'm looking. I don't see any questions. So glad that you're here with us today. All right. We're rocking and rolling. I'm glad you're here. I'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Different topic, though. Same time, same place, different topic for next Tuesdays.